Okay, go ahead.
When Microsoft really needs to do something, even though they are against it, they'll do it if they think that they need to. That's one thing about Microsoft that I do like, is that when they are behind and they realize, okay, we can't control this right now. We need to at least act like we're supporting this. We need to, yeah.
Well, no, and that's the big rub there, to be perfectly honest, in that with some of the direction Windows has been going lately, I almost feel like Microsoft's trying to take a page from the MacBook, and not in a smart way. It's, I mean, honestly, how many people do you see saying with the Windows platform, if the Windows platform becomes as locked down as not quite iOS, but moves towards that direction of lockdown?
I see a lot of people staying with it because I think that most people don't think about that, to be honest.
Well, they don't think about it until it starts to affect them. Um, uh, like when the licensing terms for Windows changed, and the way the way OEM copies were handled, and so on and so forth. A lot of businesses took note of how they're signed, because suddenly they woke up holding the financial bag. Do I think the average end user would pay attention? No. But if businesses start to switch off of, then the industry will kind of start to follow suit. It's 6 1/2 dozen. I might be
Yeah.
my son, but go ahead.
If Microsoft tries an iOS level lockdown or whatever with this future App Store, I think that could kill them. As I know that many business customers would be very unhappy with the idea that all of their old software is bricked and you have to do everything through the App Store now.
Well, no, and it's like, and I mean, that's the potential flaw here, because if Microsoft can convince enough key software people to sign on with it, it could be this: to upgrade to Windows 8, you have to buy all your software again. And do we know any commercial software person that's going to go, well, in the interest of customer service, we're not going to make you give us more money? I'm just saying. Does anybody know that company? I'm just saying. That's.
Well,
Um,
it'll also be interesting if Microsoft actually does that and it actually does kill Windows, because there's a number of possible platforms to replace it right now.
yeah. Well, and the only way I would see the App Store really taking off, there has to be incentive for people to want to be a part of it. Especially, and Microsoft. I hope I'm wrong.
Convenience.
I
How inconvenient is it to download a Windows exe? I'm just saying. It's.
I don't know. I never found it all that inconvenient, but at the same time, that's one of the things that initially impressed me when I moved over to Linux, was the whole Synaptic package management system, where I could just find a program in the repositories and download it straight without having to go around looking for it.
Right, but those, see, the thing in the case of a Linux distro, they're vetted by the distro. So they've been vetted. Microsoft isn't going to vet those for free. So it's going to be, I see it being an extension of the certificate program.
Mm-hmm.
It's a genuine Microsoft approved program.
But the thing about that is that the end users won't even notice that. It's just the developers that will.
Well, no, but see, here's the thing. The only way I see Microsoft convincing developers that they need to be part of this Microsoft genuine approved application thing and be vetted by Microsoft to be an officially works well with this version of Windows application and pay the fees that go with that, which I don't know any companies that do. The only applications I ever see that pass that test are Microsoft applications. I've never seen an application made by anyone else, which means the industry doesn't think it's necessary. Which means to convince them to be part of this app store, the only way Microsoft could do that, so it's not this big, huge flop thing like their game thing is, would be to say, these are the apps that can be installed on Windows. If they're not here, they can't be installed. In which case, they've bricked Windows.
They're not crazy.
Well, then nothing will come of this store, even if they do include it. It'll be just like the game one.
Unless they, check them for free. Because Microsoft does have the money to do that, to let people submit apps for free and they'll check them.
And Apple has the money to check theirs for free, but, we're talking about two companies that, as much as they cat and mouse with each other, they're not that different. That's... At least as far as that particular point of view goes. Why give it away when we can charge for it? Screw the end user. Yes, it would let us make a better experience for the end user. No, we should charge for it. You should foot the bill for us helping our customers. Anyway, well, it's like, and the reason I say it, it's, in case we care, just because we're running long here. This is about the company that pushed the kin and then immediately killed it. The cell phone stores that carried it didn't even want to sell it. They knew it sucked. They're like, oh no, you don't want that. Get this. It's like, I laughed when I saw the commercials. I'm like, does anybody know anyone who bought a kin? Supposedly 10,000 people bought them.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen to Windows in the mobile market now? Are they going to still stay in? Are they going to be able to?
I think they can't make up their mind on that. And the honest thing on that is, I think the best bet for that is, because there's actually, Microsoft has 6 formulas for this right now. They have Windows 7 Mobile, they have Windows Mobile, they had the things like Kin, they have Windows Embed, and I forget what the other ones are. Windows Embed's the one I see having its best shot at success, because the recent Windows Mobile devices that have been successful, even though Microsoft killed them too, have been the ones where Microsoft had absolutely nothing to do with the UI, and that's the whole idea behind the Windows Embed stuff. Is that, because people forget that, and it pains me greatly to say this, but Windows is actually a pretty good operating system at its core. It's not a bad OS. It's the stuff that gets put on top of it. And that's the idea behind Windows Embed. It's like, it's going to be the Windows core, but we're going to leave the UI and how it's adapted to this particular device up to the company making the device. Which, if that takes off, it would be because Microsoft finally has enough common sense to stay the hell out of the way and realize it's too late to dictate the shape this market takes. And just let the market steer itself.
Yeah.
That's, whether or not Microsoft has enough common sense to realize they need to take that hands-off approach at this point remains to be seen.
Another thing is, I've used a lot of Windows phones. My dad has an iPad, and Microsoft doesn't really make very good mobile UIs.
No, they don't.
They
They believe there should be start menus on mobile UIs.
Yeah. Like desktops, and they have little X's for quitting, and that's not just about dictating, it's just that they don't know how to make a mobile UI.
No, well, no, and I honestly see. I think that's the real reason HP bought Palm. Is like, and a lot of people are surprised Microsoft didn't, because if anybody knew how to make a good UI, it was those people. It's like, that could have been a good marriage, but Microsoft wasn't interested. Okay, we're on time.